So the CLEO Institute is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that for the last 12 years have been building climate action through advocacy and educational programs. It was founded by a science teacher that was listening to the alarms issued by the scientific community and decided to do what she knew best, which is education. And through education in action, we are making sure that we are instituting agency and advocacy and civic engagement in all our programming. And we are based in Florida. We have representation throughout the state capital here in South Florida, as well as Central Florida as well. Well, Miami is ground zero for the climate emergency. We have been feeling the impacts for many, many years. We have seen increase in our rising tides. We are seeing how increasing extreme weather events and extreme heat temperatures are already causing havoc, and not only in our agriculture but in also our tourist industry and so many other economic engines here at the state. Right here in Biscayne Bay, which is another economic motor engine of the county, has been suffering already the impacts of a warming climate. Warming waters have caused, and runoff pollution of course, have caused enormous fish kills throughout the last few years, as well as seagrass die-off, which is causing the unfortunately death of many manatees in the area. So the impacts are many, they're evident, we're seeing them in real time, and they're expected to become more severe in the next years to come. Even within our decades, we're expected to see almost 2 feet of sea level rise in this area. Well, there are regional, local, and some state initiative. You know, from the state perspective, the current government has been really focusing on funneling adaptation dollars to local governments who are already dealing with chronic flooding issues and sea level rise issues. Having said that, from the mitigation perspective, you know, pretty much turning off the faucet of heat trapping gases as we know it, we're not seeing the necessary robust climate action that we should be implementing. At the local county level, we have a climate action strategy plan that is starting to be implemented. Here at the Port of Miami, there was an announcement recent that all the cruise ships that will be coming to Port Miami will be connecting to shore power instead of leaving their engines 24/7, spewing global warming pollution into our atmosphere. Having said that, we still have a lot of red tape here in our state because we are controlled by monopoly electric utilities that really control the legislative session here in Florida, and has not committed to 100% clean renewable goal as many utilities around the world are already doing. Sadly, here in the Sunshine State, we're not tapping into the power of the sun as we should. Again, the electric utilities like Florida Power and Light have still relying on fossil fuel dirty methane gas or natural gas, as it's being called, and that obviously is not helping the climate. So the Florida Climate Crisis Campaign really was a one-of-a-kind campaign that we brought to Florida in the midst of the pandemic. We really wanted to come up with innovative and striking elements that would get Floridians to talk about what we're already seeing. And so we partnered with an advertising campaign called Subi Advertising and a artist in California to create life-size wax sculptures that would melt in the Florida sun. And when these sculptures representing things that Floridians really care about, like the Florida Panther, or you know, a lifeguard house that represents our tourism and economic industry of our beaches, just to name a few, important messages were revealed. So for example, one of our sculptures reveal more heat, less health, really alluring to the impacts of a warming climate to public health. And so this campaign really attracted a lot of buzz, not only earning us media all around the state, but around the world, getting us more than 5 million views in different platforms, and from social media to earned media to TV, radio, and traditional media as well. So we're very excited about the impact of the juxtaposition between art and activism, which we're calling it artivism. And we're excited to be launching the second phase of this campaign, to use it as a launching pad to let all Floridians know that we're in a state of an emergency. And so the Florida Emergency State Campaign will be launching during the hurricane season coming up starting June 1st, which is also the beginning of the heat season for us here as well. So it is our next hope to continue to elevate the urgency of the climate crisis and the climate emergency here in the state of Florida, which is, again, ground zero for the climate crisis. You know, I am positive that this is a solvable issue. We're in the midst of a clean energy transition right now. The war in Ukraine, it's an outcome of this clean energy transition of petro dictators trying to hold on to power. And again, the stranglehold from electric utility is another outcome of this clean electrification and just transition, clean energy transition, because the market forces are there. Clean energy is already out-competing fossil fuel technologies and fossil fuels in many parts of the world. So it's a matter of political will. The technological solutions are there. It's just a matter of political and societal will. And I think because of the unfortunate of all the climate emergency impacts that we're seeing, we have been able to persuade the public. And right now, climate action is at an unprecedented high as far as public support. So I am really hopeful for the future. What we're trying to do is right now is alleviate the suffering of many people, many parts of the world that have contributed the least to this crisis and actually have the least amount of safety nets and safety guards to be able to cope with a warming climate.